Yeah, Najee's opening, and
not Najee.
Tickets for the Grover Washington Jr. tour coming up.
Grover Washington. Oh my God! Yeah, this is gonna be good. So everybody got a chance to look at the little rundown.
Yeah.
All right, bet. So we're gonna go ahead and start because I know that everybody has stuff to do. The busiest people on earth. So,
wait, so this new one is this is it, right? It's not like a combination of this one and the first one. This is just it, right? The second one you sent.
Yeah,
okay.
The second one I sent is a little bit of a combination, but it's pretty much like some new stuff, some fresher stuff.
Okay.
To talk about.
Okay.
So everybody's ready. Naima,
yeah, I'm ready.
PopLife.
I'm ready.
All right. Yes. Good people. Good people. It's your girl, Irene. And I'm back with another episode. And I have to say, I know I say this every week, y'all, but like for real, I'm super excited because I have, how do I explain? I call y'all like my play cousins in real life. I don't know if that makes sense, but
that makes sense.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I have the host of the PopLife podcast, Naima, Jeff, and Sean.
What's up?
If I hadn't seen the audience, they would applaud right now. I'm super excited to have y'all on the show. Y'all have no idea. Yes. Last year I had the opportunity to join you guys last year, so that was super dope getting on the PopLife. But now you guys are at FSG with the Giggle Gang.
Shout out to the Giggle Gang.
Yes.
That's what you call your people, the Giggle. We don't have no name for our people. What's the name of our people? The Popsters? I don't know.
No, Popsters sounds mad corny. We'll have to have that conversation offline. I've been trying to figure that out.
We got to come up with something.
The Popsters?
You said old niggas? Sure, I said old niggas.
Old niggas listen to us,
right?
And it's either old niggas or like kids that's in the car that they feel like they can let listen.
Exactly.
Oh my God, yeah. So as y'all can see, we about to be for the shits and giggles all episode because this is what this crew does. So I want to get right into it. Y'all introduce yourselves. Like, how was your week? We'll start with Naima first because Naima is a vet.
Ladies first.
Yes, ladies first.
Ladies first. Well, I've been on the show before.
Yes, you have.
I've been on the show before. So hello again to the Giggle Gang. Shout out to BADST.
Hey,
in the house. Yeah, just gotta give Sora's a shout out real quick.
I love you for that.
I am. Yeah. You want us to tell like our whole situation? What you want?
Just what you got into this weekend or whatever.
Just what we got into this weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna get into your business at the end of the show.
Okay, I binge watched. I gotta give a shout out to Netflix because they really stepped their game up. I mean, we all know it. We see the advertisements, we see the news of the deals, but like really, there's something new to watch on Netflix every week, for real.
Yep.
So this week I got into a series called Russian Dolls with Natasha Lyonne, which is very dope.
I saw it up there. I haven't looked at it yet.
It's very dope. It's kind of like a very morbid Groundhog's Day.
Oh, okay. Shit.
But smarter and funnier. I'm sorry, let me turn my mail off. Sorry, guys. But smarter and funnier. And then I finally got into a show. I don't know, Jeff, you might have peeped this because you're kind of sci-fi, called Sense8.
No, I ain't up on it.
No.
That's okay, too, though, right? I've seen that too.
Yeah. So Sense8 was a Netflix original series that actually they canceled it, I think, in 2016 because it was so expensive. It was like $9 million an episode because it was based in Mexico, London, Berlin, India, and the States. So in 2 different states in the States. So like they were doing a lot of, and Kenya, I forgot Kenya. So they were doing in Nairobi. They were doing a lot of on location filming with all the cast members. So it was so expensive that Netflix ended up canceling it, but I had never watched it. So I finally got into that. So my weekend was a bunch of binge watching. And then last night I won't even say I half watched the Super Bowl. Like the Super Bowl was on.
Trash.
That turned during halftime.
Yeah. During halftime?
I finished. I wasn't even really paying attention to halftime, and then after that, I was like, all right, it was whatever.
Yeah, trash. All right.
Yeah, it was garbage. The Super Bowl was garbage.
Oh my God.
I actually dragged my ass to Harlem to watch the shit at Harlem Tavern, and I was like, man, what am I doing here?
Was anybody even in there?
Yeah, it was heads in there. Like, it wasn't like flooded. It would have been much more flooded, honestly. Like,
the Saints play?
Okay, you want to hear my theory? This is my theory.
Jeff and these theories. He's starting with a theory.
And bro probably be with me on this theory, right? So my theory is this. I feel like the NFL, definitely shaded things to get the Patriots in one last time because I think they know that this is kind of like towards the end of the line for Brady, and they're looking at Mahomes like, you know what, you're only 23, fam. You got many years to go, right? On the other side, I really feel like the NFL did whatever they do when they do what they do.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Sometimes I just think that there's certain things that happen. I think that what people don't understand is like in an NBA and in baseball happens too. Like a lot, the refs or the umpires, whatever the officials are called, they have meetings like before the game, and they have meetings sometimes with league officials, and they'll be like, "Look, we're going to call the game this way, or we want you to kind of look more for this." So it's not that like saying sure? Like,
you think that really happens?
No. They actually do. They actually do all meet because they'll take into consideration like previous game film and coaches' complaints, owners' complaints to see if this person. They'll come in and say, "Hey, 78 man, he does a lot of holding on 3rd and longs. You guys should look for that." And they have meetings about all those
or we don't want to call we're calling like a lot of pass interferences. So this time we don't like let them play a little bit more. We want to
keep the game. Yeah, we want to keep the game going.
This absolutely actually happens. It's kind of documented. So I feel like
I just feel like it just takes a lot to do that. Like it takes a lot.
No, it doesn't. You get with the officials, and then the league office calls the officials, and they have a conference call.
Well, the officials, we have to remember the officials also operate in the subordinate capacity, right? Like they're not an independent firm that gets a check every year, and then they send out whatever officials they feel is necessary. No, these are subordinates to the NFL. This is a business. It is a television show at the end of the day. And I know we think of sports as this sort of meritocracy, right? Like this, it's supposed to be all this one thing. And while the integrity of the game is important, it's a fucking TV show. Okay,
exactly.
But it was a bad TV show.
That's what I was gonna say. Considering how last night went,
that was not what the country wanted to see, regardless of who you're rooting for. It was terrible.
Well, hear me out. This is just my theory. I'm talking shit, as I always say. I don't have any evidence of this, but this is what my gut tells me. My gut tells me is it was some things done, so things might kind of shade a bit towards the Rams as possible. This is why, because Los Angeles obviously is the second biggest media market in the country. Sometimes first. It's huge, right? But the Rams don't really draw in LA. It's not like the Giants in New York, or they got back there a few years ago. Yeah, and they're not really drawing. So they need to. It's a massive market. The NFL needs to grow that market in order to obviously generate even more income. I mean, that's like the NFL's going broke. But they need to. That's a massive market that they can't have the stands half full, or every time the Rams play, like it'd be like it's like a home game for the away team. Like if Green Bay goes there, it'd be like 65-70% Green Bay fans in the stands in LA.
Yeah, they said nobody was there last night for the Rams. They said it was nothing but Patriots fans.
That's my point. So I feel like they were like, you know what? Let's grow this thing a little bit. Let's get the Rams in because the Saints already got theirs. They good money. They draw. They generate. We need to grow this market. That's what I feel like happened in a game, which is why there was some questionable calls in that game.
That's a lot.
But you be when you got this much money on the line, when you got this much bread on the line, shit gets real. But to me, it backfired on them crazy
because it was terrible. The commercials, everything was bad.
The Rams didn't gain any fans; they lost fans. If anything, they didn't because they looked like shit. If that was the Saints last night, first of all, I wouldn't even be able to get in Home Tavern. They would have been flooded. And
that's what I'm saying.
And the energy around that game would have been so much bigger. It would have been Breeze against Brady, the Saints, who were kind of looked at in a weird way as a black team, kind of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because of New Orleans and the personality of the team.
Yeah, they're part of the fabric of the city.
Right. Like niggas rock with this, even if they ain't just team. I ain't seen them except Atlanta Falcons fans. Yeah. I ain't never seen a nigga go against the Saints. So
only Atlanta.
It would have been a whole black versus white thing last night. It would have been a whole.
Oh, definitely, that would have happened.
Absolutely,
in Atlanta.
Except in Atlanta. But last night you got me and Home Tavern, and it was like watching like week 11
It was terrible.
The Chiefs. That was the energy in Home Tavern. It was like week 11, the Chiefs versus the whoever's another good team.
The Raiders.
The Raiders. No, but a good team, like a good team, like a good team, like a Sunday 4:00 game. The Chiefs versus the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, but it wasn't like a Super Bowl energy.
It wasn't. It was
terrible. Well, I also have a theory that, and maybe this is with the refs or whatever, but I've noticed over the past 8 years, I think it may even be that long, Super Bowls are only good every other year. So you get one really exciting year, which was last year, and then you get a dull year, and then you get an exciting year, and then you get a dull year. And I started paying attention the year the Giants won the Super Bowl. And because I have remembered that whatever the game was before that, and I think it might have been a Patriots win the year before that.
Probably.
It was wild boring. So I started paying attention to this, and I started noticing that, like, if you have an exciting Super Bowl one year, the next year is going to be boring.
Well, the Super Bowl is in my hometown next year, so I'll be there active.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's in Miami. It's in Miami. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how they decide to go from cities as close as Atlanta to Miami. Like, that just doesn't even seem.
I think it's about weather, right? Weather.
No, it's not. Weather doesn't always play a role in this, because remember,
it did rain in Miami.
Well, the 2000 Super Bowl, it was like fucking icy out there in Atlanta. It was really brutally cold.
Yeah.
But what they do is each of the teams have the opportunity to bid. And what happens is that the city does play a role in that, right? Whether the stadium is updated, whether there is the sort of proper logistics and accommodations that can handle the Super Bowl. For example, they did the Super Bowl in Jacksonville one year. They actually ran out of hotel rooms. They had to dock cruise ships. People literally had to like sleep on cruise ships during that week. So yeah, it definitely plays a part in the logistics of a city, the infrastructure of a city. Definitely plays a part, and weather does play a role in it. Is why you might see a Super Bowl in Minnesota one year, every 20 years, right? Like versus New Orleans and Miami have had several Super Bowls,
right?
Because those are party towns.
I think they're tied. They're tied. Yeah, and they're tied for like the most, like 10 and
hospitality is in the fabric of the culture of the city.
Yeah.
Right. So a place like Houston, a place like Miami, those are, and also you want to keep it sort of not too far west, because the population is heavily on the Eastern Seaboard. You definitely want to keep it in a place where people can get to.
Exactly.
Right.
Makes sense. We're gonna get back to the Super Bowl. Well, and I know that Jeff just told us what he did. What about you, Sean? What you been up to the last couple of days?
Oh, I ain't do shit. I was doing the same shit.
Doing the same shit. Doing it. Exactly.
You watch it at the shop, bro?
No, I went down to my boy house.
Okay.
On the street. So I always like going up the street because I could just stumble right back home.
Where, the cigar shop? Is that where you typically?
No. Well, I go watch my Sunday games there because we have the DirecTV package, so I don't pay for the package at home. And so you just got to get there early enough and claim a TV for your team. And God willing, if your team is shitty, you ain't gonna get a TV.
So let me ask y'all a question. Speaking of the Super Bowl, is the boycott over for the NFL?
Was it a boycott?
I'm about to say, did the boycott start?
Can we discuss that? I'm so confused.
I will say this. I saw a lot of y'all ain't even follow through with the boycott. I think Ebro said something like this morning. But there were a lot of people on Instagram, like all last night, who were basically like posting Cap, posting fuck the NFL, posting what they would do
Cap jerseys
as an alternative. I stand with Cap, whatever. So I definitely think it maybe didn't seem like it to us because the people who were active were largely the people who were watching the game. But I think there were still a bunch of people who haven't been watching the NFL for like the last 2 years, and even with me, like I do still watch some games, but I don't watch as much as I used to. But I can't even say like it's a principled, concerted, like I'm consciously not watching football.
Yeah, I'm just not interested anymore. Like I just watched the Super Bowl and the playoffs, but I'm trying to figure out. Like I know that the league, and I'm not caping for them at all because I think the NFL is trash, but I know the league has done some things, right? Like given money to certain organizations and things of that sort. There were quite a few MLK tributes throughout the Super Bowl. They had Andrew Young,
they had John Lewis and Andrew Young,
right? And and his daughter, Reverend King throw out the the coin toss. So it appears like they are trying to do something. Whether it's enough, I am not the person to be like, you're not doing enough. But I'm just trying to figure out I
think people's stances, you can do a whole lot of other posturing and a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of whatever, but you guys still shut Cap out. Like you shut this man out for taking a principled stance and for daring to go against the system and the old boy network that is the NFL, right? For daring to stand against you guys and oppose you guys. So I think everything else short of that feels very much like lip service. Like really, if you really felt like this, like there's how many different teams, like one of y'all could hire that motherfucker, and I think that's what people are really kind of, no matter what anybody else does, as long as there is a concerted effort to keep Cap out. Because didn't they call back didn't they call back some quarterback who's been out of the league? Didn't they call back what's his name?
It's been several guys that have been out of the league and they're
calling them back. Yeah, so it's like you call them back old motherfuckers.
Does Cap even want to play at this point?
I mean, I don't know.
It's been like 2 years now?
He's been staying in shape.
He's been staying in shape, but also, if I'm not mistaken, there was a point when I think Harry Edwards, the sort of famous Bay Area, I don't know if activist is the right word. He was also a professor at UC Berkeley. He was a part of the John Carlos and Tommy Strong 68 Olympics protests.
Yep.
He was acting as an advisor to Cap. He was also on the 49ers payroll. But he said maybe a year or so ago that Cap was ready to play football. He wanted to play football. It's what he does. It's what he knows. Also, I think that he has to maintain that in order for the suit to have merit.
Right, because he is in the middle of a suit. Okay.
Yeah, he's in the middle of a lawsuit, right? Which and collusion, like this is a real big deal, right? Because we're talking about real precedents here for really, really big business. And so I think it's going to be important. So I think it was also important that he did stay in shape, that he did present as a man looking for a job actively. And that was a part of it. And maybe he does still want to play. I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
He seems to be taken to his activism role very well. He does what he does. And yeah, so he does seem to want to play. And I think that there's nobody in the world that could honestly stand there and say that he's not at least one of the best 60 quarterbacks in the world right now.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting yesterday because, like I said, I don't know where they got them jerseys from, but they're these black Kaepernick jerseys with number 7 on them, obviously. And a lot.
He sells them on his site. I think.
Are they Nike or are they his direct?
I feel like
I'm assuming it's Nike because Nike's promoting them. Yeah. So there were a few people that were wearing them yesterday. Kevin Durant, LeBron, Angela Davis. A couple other people too that I'm blanking on, but and whenever he would see somebody wearing it, he would kind of comment on it. He'd be like, "Yo, thank you for supporting me on Instagram and stuff." And there was that. What was interesting is like I think that I don't know if he's ever done that before because he doesn't talk he doesn't communicate at all. Nah. So for him, that he was actually writing these messages. Usually you hear you hear about him via his girl Nessa. But this time was like him directly writing, thank you for supporting me. Yo, LeBron, I see you. I really appreciate you, whatever. Like, so that was interesting that he kind of poked his head up a little bit yesterday for the Super Bowl.
I think people were also not questioning, but kind of asking, like, where is Cap? Like, he's not talking. So,
and I mean,
people might be in his ear about that too.
But yesterday was also like a challenge because Well, there's a couple of things. Like, first of all, the fact, you would hope you have a Super Bowl in Atlanta. It needs to be a black ass Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And I can imagine the NFL being torn with that because, from the moment they announced Maroon 5, everybody was like, it's Atlanta. Why is it Maroon 5? Where's the black people? But then every time a black person was confirmed to be part of the event, it was like,
they get chastised.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily the same people saying both things, but, but I also pointed out last night that, like, with John Lewis and Bernice King and Andrew Young, people were like, oh, now the NFL is pandering. But had they gone through that whole program with no acknowledgement of like History Month or Atlanta's roots or anything like that, people would be like, this is why we don't fuck with the NFL. So it's kind of, so the NFL is in a really tight spot.
Also, I wouldn't even have considered that pandering based on the fact that the people that were there were not just people that were a part of the civil rights movement and the namesakes of people who were part of the civil rights movement, but their family names and their people who are of the fabric of Atlanta.
Right.
You cannot tell the story of Atlanta, right? And without those names and without those people. So that is not surprising to me. If they did a Super Bowl somewhere else, they would they integrate the people that are part of the fabric of those communities.
Now, what I did see going too far was, and it wasn't a lot of people, I saw a few people like, oh, y'all supposed to be boycotting the NFL, but we in the blackest city in the country, and you down there partying. Super Bowl parties ain't got nothing to do with the Super Bowl.
Shut the hell up. Shut up.
The NFL ain't got nothing. Like, Atlanta businesses is supposed to just be like, fuck it, we're not going to get in on this money.
People just want something to talk about. They just want to be upset about something.
Like, y'all go too far. Y'all go too far.
You're doing the most.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't talked to my peoples down there, but from what I've read, it feels like everything was pretty much a success. There was no incidents I hear about any type of drama, and besides 21 Savage, which I'm sure we'll get to later. But that wasn't like drama, like fighting in the street. There was
that was just like some.
I didn't hear about any issues. Seemed like everything moved pretty smoothly, and people made their money and had a good time and got home safe. So God. But and I just want to say peace to Miss Gladys, who sung the national anthem, did a hell of a job.
Man, listen.
Chloe and Halle.
I love you, Miss Gladys. I love you, Miss Gladys.
Miss Gladys had her good deaconess choir church anniversary outfit on.
I'm on this stage today.
I think it was a sad. Did she have a sad show with that?
She might have. She was church announcement ready, player.
Yes,
church announcement ready.
Yes.
I had to call my girl. She makes all my dresses for me.
And that's probably exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. No, we no doubt that's what happened. And
Chloe and Halle.
Chloe and Halle.
They sounded amazing.
And did a great job too. So look, man, you can't have it both ways, man. They're gonna be in the city anyway. You might as well let these young black folk, not young, just black folks in general, just
let them rock,
old, whatever. Let them make their money any way they can, and keep it pushing, man. What do you want, man? Like, come on,
exactly.
What we doing here?
So I'm glad we got into that. We kind of jumped out of order, but that was a good. I hope it gave the Giggle Gang just a good idea of what to expect.
Right. I do have to say one thing. Shout out to the NFL for their 100 years commercial, because that was the best Super Bowl commercial I've ever seen. I watched that commercial 77 times.
So
it's amazing.
Which commercial? Which one?
With all the
NFL 100 years commercial.
Oh yeah, that was hard. The
football banquet is amazing. I've watched it so many times. It's like everything about it is perfect.
It made it, but also made it feel like it added like some personality to it, like some a humanistic side.
Yeah,
I'm like, because wasn't the commissioner? Did he call him the commissioner?
Yeah,
he was in there. Like, I'm like, and these players, young, old, like everyone's in there. Like,
it was outstanding.
Yeah.
It was
like that commercial when at Harlem Tavern watching, and when that commercial came on, really more than any commercial. Cardi a little bit, because people just love Cardi, but
okay.
But when that commercial came on, like the whole joint was locked in and yelling, and people literally applauded
because it was better than the game.
See,
it was way better than the game.
But commercials like that make me feel like us on the outside who are quote unquote boycotting. It's like, what? it's like,
what about the players?
Yeah, what about the players? It's almost as if we are more upset than the people who are in it.
Well, it's their job.
Of Kaepernick.
It's their job, and it's their job, and it's a very large part of their lives. And I mean, listen, okay, for me and you, right? It's like and this is me and Irene. It's like when everybody was boycotting. What was that? Sisterhood.
Oh yeah,
stories.
The step.
Sorority
sisters. Sorority sisters. Yes.
Y'all niggas can't remember nothing.
Now, bro,
sorry,
Sean.
Don't get he's promoting me entertainment. Sorry, Sean.
Sean, no, take a long pull on that cigar.
Sean, no beef, no problem.
No beef. I'm just saying, no problem. When the world at large. And even when we have problems with what was going on with the cast members themselves, I want to differentiate that from the production. With the cast members and how they were comporting themselves, it did not take away from our love for our organization. Whereas people outside of our organization were using it as an opportunity to be like, "This is why we don't fuck with Black Greeks and y'all don't blah 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 blah." You know, so I mean, it's their thing. And honestly, the commercial was great. I just said last week that Deion Sanders 30 for 30 was on about the
I heard it was good.
The double play. It was excellent.
I
was remarking that like I feel like we don't have big personalities in football like Deion anymore. Marshawn might be the last one.
And he was so Marshawn in that video.
He was so Marshawn in that commercial. That was so great. Yeah, that's why I love that. That commercial was great. Yeah. That's my last Super Bowl comment.
Was and any other commercials that you liked? Besides that one?
That was it. And
that was the only one I really paid attention to. I had already seen the Cardi one prior to the Super Bowl.
And what was up with your boy? And I'm using your boy loosely, Chance sounding like Lil Wayne. Like I know that was a thing. People were talking about it last week, but I saw it for the first time last night.
I didn't see that one.
The Backstreet Boys joint?
Yeah, he's rapping and he sounded just like Lil Wayne. It was eerie. It was weird. But anyway,
you know, what was interesting to me about the commercials, and I texted Sean and Naomi this yesterday, like, and I haven't seen anybody write this yet. It's interesting, like, because there was no Nike commercial, there was no McDonald's commercial, there was no Coca-Cola commercial, there was no Apple commercial.
There was a Coca-Cola commercial.
Which one?
It came on either at the beginning of the Super Bowl or right before, but it was like the different looks of Coca-Cola and how
I missed that.
You can get a Coke in any country and stuff like that.
Okay, I missed that one. But like a lot of the big companies that usually get down didn't get down this year. There was no.
Well, Nike might have been.
I don't think there was an E-Trade commercial. I don't think it was an E-Trade commercial. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
but there were also some new people in there. Like this is the first year ever that
Bud Light was everywhere.
That's always. This was the first year ever that security companies advertised in the Super Bowl. ADT and somebody else did. This is the first time that ever happened. Burger King ran a super long spot.
They did.
Andy Warhol. The Andy Warhol joint. Yeah. So maybe, you know, it was like a McDonald's, or I don't know. I don't know how the politics of that works, but yeah.
I was wondering if Nike was going to run a Cap commercial. That would have been.
That would have been dope.
My God.
That would have been. They would probably.
That would have been so much money.
Yeah, a lot of money.
I mean, they got it.
But almost defeats.
Got it. They got it.
They do. They say this is the least watched Super Bowl
in a decade.
Lowest rating.
Because nobody was really interested in these teams because the Patriots been there so many times, and the Rams don't have fans. They don't have a fan base. That's and on top of it, the game is 3-3 into the fourth quarter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even at halftime, people were leaving at halftime. People were bailing out.
It was terrible.
It was terrible.
Anyway, and that snippet of Big Boy. I'm sorry. Big Boy was on stage for 3 seconds, y'all. Like,
he was a featured performer.
I know, but it was so small. Like,
it was.
It was a verse, and that was.
But he still launched a tour off the back of it. Go Antoine.
I guess
that nigga announced the tour today.
I get him doing the way you move, because obviously that was a huge record for him. But I really want him to do. I was like, nigga, just do purple. What's it called? Hey,
he came in. Yeah. He did.
I meant just keep going. Just keep do the record. You know what I'm saying?
That would have got people hyped.
But I really appreciate that
that's such an Atlanta record. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such an Atlanta song. So.
I really appreciate that he did an ATL ho chant on the stage. I appreciate
that was the best part of that.
And didn't get censored.
Show.
And didn't get censored.
I don't think they knew. I don't think they understood what he was saying.
They know. What'd y'all think about Travis Scott?
Travis, God bless him, like you would say. I was thrown off by his Louis V belt. It just threw me off.
That's that Virgil. That's
that Virgil Abloh. I get it.
That's showing man Virgil. Showing you see your boy getting that Super Bowl look.
It was terrible.
Virgil out here scamming these boys.
Yo.
Virgil out here dressing these niggas in $8,000 Gordon Guard trails.
And he's winning, yo. He's winning.
And getting all the money. God bless him. God bless him. God bless him.
All right. So before we get into the water cool notes, I want to know, because you guys are very heavy on social media, mainly Twitter. And, this is FSG for shits and giggles. And I'm pretty ridiculous. And I like to ask my guests, what's the most ridiculous thing? So I'm sure that everyone here has some story that they could tell. But what's the most ridiculous thing someone has ever tweeted you or said to you online?
Go first.
I'm gonna let you go first, Jeff.
All right, so
ask Jeff what's the most ridiculous thing he ever said to somebody on Twitter.
We'll be here all night. We'll be here all night.
That I can't remember. I probably said some shit yesterday. But wait, so it wasn't, I don't want to call it ridiculous because I don't want to get in no trouble and shit. But like, so this dude, I ain't never met him, but he seemed like a nice dude. His name is Mark. I don't want to guess I'm gonna call him out. Whatever. It's Cat on Twitter, right? He was tweeting and it was something happened in the gay community, right? Something, I can't remember what it was. And he's gay, right? And so something happened and he said something about it, and I was like, basically the gist of it, I was like, yeah, that's fucked up. Like, what happened? That's fucked up. Like, that's foul. Like, that's crazy. And he tweeted back, he was like, yeah, because blah, 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 blah. And I was tweeting him back, I was like, yeah, that's kind of foul. Like, people kind of think like that. I can't remember the incident, but I was like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up that people kind of think like that. That's just foul, right? And he was like, yeah, because, as gay people, we need to stick together and blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
wait, Jeff, you friendly?
Sorry, bro.
I'm just the ally.
Yeah, I'm just sorry, bro, but I'm straight. I'm straight as shit. And the nigga just stopped talking to me and shit. And they caught a little tune and shit.
Oh my God.
I was like, damn, fam, I'm sorry, nigga. What you want me to do? Like, what? So that was kind of wild.
Oh,
that was kind of wild. He live in Harlem too. Like, he live uptown. I never seen him before.
About to be friends. That's what that was.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't got no problem being a friend with a gay guy. I ain't tripping.
I know you're not. But
soon as I told him I wasn't moving that way, nigga got a little salty. So I was like, all right, shit. That's
God.
that, man.
Yeah. Of course.
Going back to my business.
What about you, Sean?
I really stay out the fray, so I don't have much. But I remember one thing like bugged the fuck out of me. So this dude who's I guess a sports blogger, I'll just say.
Okay. So,
a little anti, women type of vibe he has. So anyway, there was an athlete who had to pay like $900,000 to basically like keep a mistress quiet and stop her from writing a book.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's peanuts. Like, he kept going on and on about $900,000, and I'm like, dude, the man has made like $160 million on the court.
He's good.
That's not even considering. And dude just kept harping on 900,000, and I had to really. I'm like, dude, that's literally like an average Joe giving away $900. Like, what are you like? What the fuck are you talking about right now? Like, he was so steeped in that argument as if that $900K was going to stop his kids from going to college.
Yeah, like he was going to be fucked up.
Like, he was about to be fucked up on it, dude. And I just was bugged. Yo, that shit just bugged me out. And that was the day I realized that Twitter shit could get really weird really quick.
Really quick. Because people be in people's pockets. And I'm like, why are you so invested, though?
I'm like, fam, he signed the papers because he can afford to sign the papers.
Yeah.
I promise you. He's not going to be looking for a roommate on Craigslist. I promise you.
Yeah, he all right.
Right. And Miss Naima, the Twitter aficionado,
Honestly, I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's been some crazy things. But aside from shit like being called a racist by people on the right and just the normal nut job stuff, I think the craziest thing that happened was recently when Kim Porter died, the day she died, Tariq Nasheed, who we all know just likes to stir up shit, was basically like, well, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, or I'm not trying to put my full hat on, but I have questions or something like that. And I was like, yo, I really hope that like this gets back to Puff and he sends some people to come see about you.
Oh, shit.
And basically we ended up in a back and forth, but it led to him saying that I was clout chasing to try to get my job back at Bad Boy, which I had in 1998. So it's like,
whoa,
it was like,
whoa.
How did no more Bad Boy?
His followers were going along with that. Like, yeah, she is. But and also he called himself like, I guess, kind of like digging up information on me. First of all, my website link is legit in my Twitter bio. It says naimacogre.com. It's right there. You ain't gotta go. But these niggas was going Googling and pulling up like pictures from Junior League Winter Ball in 2009 and like an old bio from like 2008. And I was like, all right, so y'all really could have just looked on my website. It's all right there. So so they thought they was like exposing something. And I was like, I mean, I said, that's an interesting theory. I was like, that was really creative, but that was so funny to me because I know he didn't believe it, but his followers like, you're like, yeah, you think you're gonna get your job back at Bad Boy? Yes, I want my job back at Bad Boy that I had 20 years ago. That's exactly why I'm doing this. That was just funny to me. With a company
that doesn't exist
anymore. With a company that doesn't exist anymore.
But they don't know that. People are
They don't know nothing. They don't know anything.
Oh my God. Well, those were good.
What about you?
Yeah, what about you, Irene?
What is the, I didn't even think about this. What is the most
you put us on blast and
I did. Look at you. Oh my God. What's the most ridiculous thing? Oh man. So this goes back to, I think like 2010 or 11. So I will preface it with Terry McMillan has me blocked on Twitter.
Oh, damn. Oh, wow.
So
they probably didn't take much to do that.
It didn't.
She's a little loose.
She is, but I had all of FAMU in her mention, so it didn't even matter. So this is around the time that, so President Obama, it is the middle of his first term. He's getting ready to run for re-election. So, I don't know about y'all, but I've always been like, especially during the first term, very just protective of Obama because it was like, just relax. And she always had like negative shit to say about Obama. Always. Like he's not doing enough or what have you. Like she would just be saying random shit. So in my head, she was already irking me. So it's around Thanksgiving time. Thanksgiving is coming up. And again, I probably was flagrant on some bullshit, but it didn't matter to me. She starts tweeting about where to get good turkeys for Thanksgiving. And she was like, y'all know who has the best fried turkey for Thanksgiving? And she starts talking about Popeyes. So I got in her mentions and I was like, yo, like, what are you talking about, Terry? Like, you're supposed to be this acclaimed author and what have you. Like, if you're not bashing Obama, you're talking about fried turkeys from Popeyes. It was some bullshit. And we got into like a back and forth, but everybody that I know was on my side because the way that she came at me was crazy. I can't remember exactly what she said, but she came at me crazy and then she blocked me. And then, yeah. And then recently,
go ahead.
Most recently, Amanda Seals.
That was on.
Yeah, I was finna say that.
It's like if
she blocked you too.
It might could possibly go.
Yeah, she blocked me, but she blocked me on some fuck shit.
But she blocked Irene on something really stupid. Like Irene complimented her, and she thanked Irene in Twitter DMs, she thanked Irene for the compliment. Instagram DMs, she thanked Irene for the compliment, and Irene reposted it like, "Oh shit, you know, you're welcome, Amanda, whatever." And then on her own page, Amanda went on this whole rant about like, if I DM you, don't post that, da 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 da. But she'll post DMs when she's beefing with people, but she didn't want somebody else to post a positive DM, which was weird.
Negative energy.
Yeah, it looked like it can't be known that you deign to speak to regular ass people, you know, or something like that. So Irene proceeded to then go like on, you know, all them dots that you can take up in the Instagram story. Irene took all them pictures up talking about them.
Okay, Naima, I see you, sis. I see you. Because I hate all those dots, but I was so angry. I was so angry. I had to tell the story.
She took the whole shit up talking about Amanda. So now she's blocked.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But the thing is that she blocked me and then went and talked shit about me. Like because we were exchanging everything, respond. So I couldn't respond, but I responded from another account that I have. But yeah, it was the most ridiculous thing. But Amanda, I feel sorry for her because I know people who know her, and I'm just like, sis,
she's a lot.
I know you're like.
I'm pretty sure I've also had a really silly argument with Roland about some Shabani neck scarves. I'm pretty sure that happened.
Roland Martin?
Yeah, he argues with people.
He does. He argued with my
about nothing.
Fight. Yeah, he's an idiot. I hate him.
That's
your man, right? That's your man, right?
You already know how I feel about that.
Sean, y'all are good, right? Like, because he's in New Orleans all the time.
Never. I'm good. Yeah, I'm totally good on that nigga. Keep him away from me.
I feel like Sean will fight him.
Jumping around. Nah, he's just a square,
he's
man.
Busy.
He's just a square, just all over the place, all acting like he know everybody. And half them entertainers, man, they be looking tired. Like, nigga, I done took 4 pictures with you.
Nigga.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
That was him all at Essence. He was at Essence Fence like a mixie, dog. But yeah, let's go on. All right, so we about to get into the water cooler. First thing, the government shut down. It's over after 35 days. I want to thank the 3 of you for sending positive vibes my way and condolences and all that good stuff. Because no, seriously, I was over here mourning, dog. Like I was like, I don't have a job.
I believe it.
And I'm not getting paid. This is weird. But I just kind of want to get you guys' thoughts on what y'all think as people who are not in the government. I know what government workers think, but what y'all think is going to happen next week? Because
wait, y'all get your back pay yet?
Yeah, we got paid. I got paid on the day after we got back. So Monday
with the back pay.
We got back pay on.
Okay, so you good? You caught up? You good?
Yeah, we good, and then we get a check again this week. So thank God.
Cool. All right.
Yes, but we're just hoping, we're crossing our fingers that
doesn't happen again.
It doesn't happen again. Yeah, like this is wild.
It's kind of wild because the state of the union is tomorrow. I ain't watching that shit, but like, it's kind of like with the Super Bowl, like. It doesn't feel like there's a buzz on it. It feels like, you know, like people. I
think people don't want to hear Trump talk. Like, exactly. I don't know if there's ever been a buzz on Trump State of the Union. Don't nobody give. We all know what this nigga
lies.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be some bullshit.
Yeah, don't nobody care. I haven't watched one of his State of the Unions yet because I just can't listen to him talk that long. I can't watch Trump press conferences. I cannot listen to him talk that. I physically cannot listen to him talk that long.
Same.
But
his voice infuriates me.
I hate it. But honestly, Irene, here's the reality. What you call it? What's the Speaker of the House's name? Not Speaker of the House. What's the Senate Majority Leader?
Schumer. Oh, Chuck Schumer.
No.
McConnell.
Mitch
McConnell. Oh, okay.
So the thing about Mitch is that Mitch has made it very clear, and it's always been his career goal. He's party over country every time. Every single time. Like and is unashamedly so. And he has already shown that no matter what happens, even if the rest of his party wants to go in a different direction, which is where I think Republicans as a whole are kind of over Trump's antics right now, because that last shutdown was too much for no reason at all.
None.
But as long as McConnell holds with Trump, there's nothing that they can really do. And I think what's hard is that Trump is so unpredictable. Even with this shutdown, he was ready to sign the extension, And then you got fucking Laura Ingraham, you know, subbing him on TV. And all of a sudden he's like, nah, never mind. You know, when you have a president that is that easily tweaked, you really can't predict what he's going to do.
He's unstable.
He's completely unstable, and it's really scary. So, and now, you know, we've now, he sent more troops to the border. We've sent our aircraft over to Venezuela. Like, there's so much that's just been happening in the past couple of days. Like, I really don't know what next. He might fuck around and try to declare the state of emergency. I have no idea. I have no idea what he's going to do. You can't predict him.
The shit is wild, but what's even more wild is that there are people who support Trump. There are people who are like, crazy. Nancy Pelosi is a terrible person. She's the reason why. I'm talking about government workers too.
Like, these people,
she's the reason why we
have to have their head in the sand. What? Like, they have to have their head in the sand. They have to just only listen to Fox News.
I don't think it's well, it's definitely that, but I just think that, you know, we've talked about this 1,000 times, but Trump has just bought out all the racism, right? And so, like, I think there's a lot of these cats are the Trump supporters. I mean, I really think when you drill down to it, it's just like, yo, we like him because he's a racist piece of shit like me, and he's doing everything he can to, you know, destroy and maim and hurt, you know, people who aren't like us and put them back in check. It's really like they look at Trump like, yo, he's putting all these niggas and these spics and these whoever else is back in check, so we can live our lives without them feeling like, you know, that they really have real rights out here. Coupled with the fact that, you know, those folks know that the you know, the census is changing and the country is browning.
The census is going to be a disaster, by the way.
Listen.
Yeah. And then what did he say? Was it, I don't remember the year. It was pretty soon. I think it was like
it's next year. They're supposed to be trying to prepare for it now. It's going to be a fucking 2020. Like preparations.
That whites are going to be the minority for the first time.
I don't think it's this year.
I think that's like 2025.
It's like 2026.
Yeah. They're
like
still the majority.
So, but they shook as shit. So that's why they're like, yo, do all this fuck shit, deport people, throw people in cages. You know, just do all the heinous shit you can do to put these people in check, because, you know, they scared that when it does flip, that we're gonna
treat them how
they've done to us. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you know what? That's really what, because Trump ain't got no policy. It ain't about policies. He ain't got no policies. Right. His policies are fear and cruelty. Fear and cruelty. That was his policy.
But the thing is that
something drill down. That's what it is.
But some of these people really believe that. Like, I realized if all you watch is Fox and all you read is like Breitbart and stuff like that, if you literally don't get your news from any other news source and everybody around you thinks like you, it really is an alternative reality.
Yeah, it is.
So I can actually see how, if that's really the only place you're getting your information and listening to him, you really believe that. Like, I started to realize, like, yeah, some of these motherfuckers are supporting him just because he's racist, but some of these people really believe the stuff he says. Like, there was a thread on Twitter a while ago about a couple people were sharing all the different things that they heard family or family friends or people at their school say when Obama got elected president. And there were people who were legitimately like, he's going to persecute white people. They're going to start white slavery. They're going to put all the white people in camps. Like, these people genuinely believe that. People genuinely believe that he wanted.
But it's fucking asinine. Like, I hear what you're saying, but it's like, you're an idiot to believe that. They genuinely believe that he was trying to get rid of white people. Like, it's like they genuinely believe that. They genuinely believe that. So,
God bless them.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks.
We're gonna keep you lifted, sis.
I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. But speaking of keeping me lifted, so Kamala and Cory Booker.
I'm gonna let Sean start on.
Have both. You said Kamala's what?
No, I said I'm gonna let Sean start on this one.
Okay, yeah. So Kamala Harris and Cory Booker have both entered the race for president of the United States. They're both seeking the Democratic nomination. When Kamala announced, like, I felt like people was not giving her the time, especially Black folks. I think we lost Jeff.
He'll be back.
He'll come back in.
Especially Black folks was just giving her a hard time about her record, and, you know, not really. And again, just taking facts that they're seeing on social media. Not a lot of these people weren't even doing their own research. Nope. But it was just like, nah, she don't care about Black people and this, that, and the other, yada, 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 yada. So I already saw that and was like, this is going to be a mess, because this is exactly what the right wants us to do. They want us to be divided. But Corey announced last week, so I believe a week later, I don't think he got as much backlash. I didn't see that type of backlash on his part. So I just want to get you guys' opinion of how you guys think this is going to play out. Like, is this a smart move for both of them to put their hat in the ring for the Democratic nomination?
In my opinion, I think it's, listen, I think it's beneficial for both of them to go out there and run now, because it's kind of their time. You know, in my opinion, Corey is clearly a capable candidate. He's a competent candidate. He has zero charisma. He has zero ability to ignite people. There's no fire.
He tries.
He tap dances. So yes. Corey is a man who has operated in a world where he's had to play the game, and a part of that is a part of his fabric now. So he's not going to, when he's asked the flat out question of, do you think Trump is a racist, he's going to do tap dances like that, right? And while Gilliam, right, in his debate is asked pretty much the same thing, right, his answer is almost the same, right? Except his is done with a lot more charisma and a lot more punch.
Shout out the family.
Corey just doesn't. He doesn't. You know what, man? It's called it. Okay,
he ain't got it, right? He ain't got it.
He ain't got it. He ain't got it, and that's okay, right? Corey is probably.
We thought he did for a little while.
Corey is probably.
I think we wanted him to, and then we.
He would probably be an ideal. Yes. He'd probably be an ideal vice president.
Yeah, like a cabinet member.
Like a cabinet member. Right. Corey is, this is a smart guy. Like, Corey also is going to have to answer for Newark. He's going to have to answer for Newark.
So speak on that, because I'm not familiar. Like,
well, I know. I'll put it to you like this. I don't live in Newark. I live close to Newark. During his time as mayor, I don't think Newark had fared better from start to finish. I don't think he was able to deliver on a lot of the things that he promised. I also know that there was a $100 million pledge for schools in Newark from Facebook. And from the article that I read in the Star Ledger, that there might have been, I'm not 100% sure on this, but there was something like 70% of that money went to consulting.
So niggas ate.
Oh, niggas was fattening their pockets.
Bled him like he was Stringer Bell and they was Clay Davis. Bled him dry. And so all of that, and this is not just that, but he was the mayor, and he's going to have to answer the questions of not having been able to put that city in any better position than they were prior to that. Like, I don't think any other Fortune 100 businesses came down there. I think they had to basically fold on having Prudential stay down there. They had to, acquiesce to, a lot of things. But aside from that, I just don't think he has it.
Who has a harder fight?
I think Kamala is going to have a harder fight internally because she is a woman, and we can clearly see that her time as a DA is going to, again, she has to answer for that. And I'm not saying that what she did or anything that she did was wrong, but you cannot ignore the fact that, prisons, and that we're in there disproportionately, and you were a part of that fabric. Right, like you gotta. I'm not saying she's gotta come and apologize, but I'm saying she's gotta answer. Gotta
explain it.
I'm just trying to figure out how she's gonna explain that. Like, you're on record saying no, you don't want to reduce prison sentences because it will reduce the workforce.
The workforce.
Then you have to come. Then you gotta meet that. But that's the thing. You gotta meet that head on, and you gotta meet that head on now, because the one thing, because I promise you, you do not want that to pop up in a debate. In a debate, and when you're sitting at these town halls.
Right. She did a town hall last week on CNN, and I think one of the first or the second question was around that topic.
And what did she say?
And that's the thing. She finessed it. Like she did not. She doesn't. So this is the thing that I have with Kamala. She doesn't. Is it Kamala? Kamala.
It's Kamala.
Kamala. This is the thing that I have with Kamala. She can finesse an answer. So she answered the question and she basically put it on her office. Like she knows that she was the head of that office, but I apologize for the fuck ups that my office committed. Pretty much.
So she didn't say like that I committed.
Yes, she didn't say that she committed, but then she also talked about how important it is in how important it is that her job, like all of the things that she has to do with her job and what comes with that and how you have to make tough decisions. She never, I don't know that we're ever going to get an answer. Maybe we will.
No, we're never going to get
people press it, but she hasn't been like, you know what, I fucked up. Like,
we're never going to get the answer that we want. Mm-hmm. And that's not one and the same as her addressing it, right? Giving some nuance about her being a DA, what that means, how a city is run. All of those things matter when you're giving an explanation, not an excuse. No one's asking her to come in and say, I'm not, I should say. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking for a perfect candidate, but I am looking for one who's going to be willing to answer for the things that they've done in their past. This is what I talked about before with the fact that, Obama was a very young senator. He did not have a lot of history to explain. Mm-hmm. Corey was a mayor. Kamala was a DA. They have history to explain, and to pretend like we just saw what happened in 2016, guys, like to act like even people that are being unreasonable and being unfair, they still have the ability to vote, and it matters, and you have to address that.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. The fact that people already don't like Kamala or think she's fronting or pandering, which
is weird.
Is she a bougie white girl? Sure. But she definitely a bougie black girl, sure, but she definitely went to Howard. Like, that was real. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so she's married to a white guy, and so
what?
What else? But
I'm mad at her for fucking with Willie Brown, punk ass though.
I mean, but even that was
that nigga some ass.
But even that was.
I'm mad at Willie Brown. But I'm mad at Willie Brown for
exposing her,
putting that out there.
Yeah, like why?
What, my nigga?
Because people have nothing better to do.
Like, what does that benefit you? But what I was gonna say was the fact that people already don't like her makes it that much easier to spread misinformation about her. So, like, for example, that same Ashy Negro I mentioned a little while ago on here, Kamala did a parody clip with The Daily Show last year around Black Panther's release. Now, when Black Panther came out, if you remember, everybody was Wakanda and everything, right? Mm-hmm. It was all up and through pop culture. So it was a spoof campaign ad for her to be, I guess, mayor of Wakanda or a senator for Wakanda or something like that. And at the end, she throws up, like I would like your vote, Wakanda forever. And somebody edited like the very end of it and threw it up like, look at how hard she coming for y'all. She up here doing Wakanda ass. And people ate it. People believed it. They were like, oh my God, this shit here, she's so corny. And it's like, y'all, it was a spoof from a year ago, but because people already have this in their mind about her, just like with Hillary, it's that much easier for people to slide you false information.
But we saw Hillary.
Yeah, but the thing about niggas though, niggas, like those fake say, niggas.
That's a statement in and of itself, though, really.
It really is. But it's like, niggas are so easy to get swayed. Now you got a whole ton of niggas out here talking about Obama was trash and he ain't do nothing and blah, blah, blah. And they just taking that energy and transferring it right onto Kamala. But are gonna turn around and then be pandering and on their knees begging for some white candidate to pay them any type of attention and any type of mind. And I'm not saying that Kamala is a perfect candidate or is even my candidate. That's not what I'm saying. But so you're gonna shit on this woman for rising the ranks. She's a DA. She do what she had to do. It's California. It's the biggest state in the union. There's a lot of shit going on, and I'm not condoning everything she did. But
what you said, Jeff. I feel like I heard
it
you
is.
say some of them niggas need to go to jail.
No, what I'm saying, in California, a lot of them niggas is crazy, and she had to do what she had to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, I've said this before, and maybe it'll come out. I keep waiting for the cases, the people that bring up the cases where they were like, "Yo, she railroaded me." I haven't seen that yet.
That hasn't happened, but you're not.
I haven't seen that yet. So I'm not. I don't want to act like I'm just keeping for Kamala because I don't know enough about her stances at this.
But that's the point. People don't know enough.
Exactly. Right. But I hate the fact that niggas is just jumping out the window and just dogging her. A lot of dudes is dogging her just based on her being a woman and a black woman and killing her. But then this time next year it'll be some white candidate and y'all will be all up under them like praising them, bringing them to the black church and feeding them cornbread and shit and thinking that they're gonna have your back. Get the fuck out.
It's gonna be a very long election season.
It is because it wasn't 5 minutes and people were like, "Nope, we're not voting for her." And I'm like, "Bruh, do you even know what her platform is?" Like,
no, and people are taking information. Like, I made a commitment to myself.
She. Oh, go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I made a commitment to myself that before I retweet or comment on any links about anybody for the next 2 years, I'm gonna read them. Because the clickbait headers are becoming more and more like they're not even summations anymore. Like it's wildly like exaggerations and all kinds of liberties taken and all kinds of stuff like that, or mad shit omitted and spun. So that was my personal commitment to myself, was like, before I retweet anything, before I say anything, I'm going to click and read the article, because we don't do that. And the next thing you know, the story that people are telling on Twitter is the story that started with a retweet of the article, not the article itself. Right. Like, you know what I mean? It becomes a game of telephone, and all of a sudden it's like some whole other shit.
I was just going to say she did. I think I was listening to maybe NPR. So she was asked about her platform, and she did have an opportunity to explain what her platform was going to be. And her answer was, it was bullshit, right? Like it was fluff. It was exactly what you said, Irene. It was very
she finesse. I know a finesser.
There is something about a charismatic person that works rooms that has the ability to sort of bullshit you in a way where you feel like you got an answer. You're not sure you got an answer, but they smiled at you. You know, she laughed at one of your corny ass jokes, and she, grabbed your arm. And yes. And so you kind of forget that, wait a minute, she really didn't answer my question, right? And again, I'm not saying that as, hey, I've made my decision. I clearly have not. I'm just saying that the things that she needs to address need to be sooner rather than later. And what she did say in her answer, what made me feel a little weird about it was that it felt like a person waiting to see what the tide was, like a person that didn't stand for anything in particular, and that they wanted to see what the next movement or what the next wave was going to be, for them to plant that flag in that wave and say that was going to be their platform.
But with the election being not for another, I'm saying 2 years, but like maybe 20 months.
Yeah, basically.
I think that's kind of how you have to play it, though, because she doesn't want to get stuck saying, "Oh, well, this is what I said my platform was going to be based on," and then because we as a community are so fucking fickle, and then in August that ain't what we on. But you know what I mean? Like she needs to know, okay, what is it that, because we don't know what we want.
But you gotta have some basic stances.
Yeah, I like to know what the people that I'm rocking with are rooted in, is my point.
Universal healthcare.
Like I don't need to so like if we at the spot, right? I don't need to know why we fighting. I just need to know that you fighting with me.
Right.
Okay. We'll talk about this shit later.
We could talk about what happened. I could get upset later. But when we in the fight, you know what I'm saying? I just want to know that the person that I'm with, and I'm using that as clearly a hyperbolic example, but the point I'm making is I want to know that you're rooted in something. What is the thing that you, like universal health care? Like we knew that was a platform early on with Obama. We knew that. So I'm just saying it would be ideal for her to start to, move those,
have a thing to
have a thing. What are the talking points? What are the trigger word? What are the things that we're going to be driving home every time we get that microphone put in front of us?
Right.
And how do we know? And I mean, we don't know. She doesn't have a history of public office in this capacity, right? She's never been a mayor or governor or anything like that. But we want to know that, okay, this is the agenda here.
I don't know. I'm excited because we got viable candidates running. They look like us. I'm just excited to see what happens. I'm hoping that, we as a people, and by people, I'm just talking about people who are voting, doesn't matter whether you're black, white, male, female, what have you. But I'm just hoping that we can get on one accord and don't do it like Hillary.
I want us to galvanize between whoever the fuck
gets
the primary nomination. And that includes anyone else who was running on the ticket. If fucking Bernie Sanders don't go sit his old ass down.
Yeah, nigga, go ahead.
Bernie.
Like, do you understand? Bernie would be, I have a litany of reasons.
He's gonna be like 92.
He would be 80 when he took office.
Hell no.
Trump was 70 when he took office, and he was the oldest person to take the office of president. You want to put a motherfucker in office that's a decade older? Like, are you kidding me? I don't like if you don't vote for him for any other reason, it should be that.
I don't think Bernie wants to be president. I think this is his job. His job is
shake-up shit.
Are you serious? Like,
he's Trump. He's fucking Trump. He loves the adoration because people have like deified Bernie. He's a fucking rock star, and you could tell like he's the most ordinary motherfucker ever. He's never in his life had as much goddamn attention because he's been one of the most ineffective goddamn senators ever. Like, his voting record is trash. He's
getting his shit off.
He's put like 2 laws on the floor in 40 fucking years of Congress, and it's like he's never had this much attention, and he doesn't want to let it go. It's awful.
How y'all feel about this Starbucks guy? Who is it? Is it Schultz?
Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz has been.
What the fuck is going on with these people with money?
He has built up so much social goodwill over the years through Starbucks, and he has just completely wiped it out.
Yeah,
somebody gassed his ass up. Somebody gassed his ass up, making him think he got a shot.
He's not really gonna run. I don't believe it.
For 2 seconds. Latte. Make me a pumpkin spice latte.
We said that same shit about
Trump. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, but
that's
Trump
why I'm asking. This is a real question.
But the difference is, to me, is Trump. He's a fucking scumbag. We all know that. But Trump was coming off a big television show, and he's always had a big national profile. He had been on, CNN or she before he decided to run, talking shit about Obama.
He's also always wanted to run.
Schultz never had that.
I think Schultz is running on some. Well, Trump did it, and he's a billionaire. I'm using air quotes.
Right.
I can do it too.
But his only platform, I mean, that might be all some rich people need. His only platform is just like ignore this tax bracket, ignore Medicare. And what's fucked up about Schultz is that Schultz grew up in the projects in New York. Like
right. He had very humble beginnings.
The person who might be able to fuck the game up though is Bloomberg.
You think Bloomberg's really gonna run?
A little bit. Huh?
Did he announce?
But he's been playing with it. I
don't want that nigga neither, man. Fuck Bloomberg, man.
The last I heard, he was saying he was still thinking about it. And
El
Bloombito. I missed the Bloombito Twitter hashtag tweet Spanish.
Y'all are so damn New York. Oh man. All right, we're gonna switch gears. I kind of want Naima to take the reins on this one. About Christoph
St. John.
Yeah, and James Ingram.
Okay. So we'll start with Christoph. Christoph St. John is a veteran soap opera star. I believe that every Black person in America has watched Young and the Restless at least once, because I have no scientific evidence, but I believe it's a Black grandma favorite. And also it's one of the few soap operas that's had a long-standing Black family storyline. All My Children had Jesse and Angie, which was Debbie Morgan, but Young and the Restless, starting in like maybe the late 80s, early 90s, had The Winters, which was which was Christoph St. John, Neil Winters, which was Victoria Rowell, Drusilla Winters, who was like hood, popping off at the mouth, doing all kind of other shit, and then Married into Money. And then eventually, which was also Shamar Moore, who played Christoph St. John's brother. And the family is still very present today. His son apparently committed suicide like 5 years ago.
Oh, shit.
At the age of 24.
2014.
Yeah. And since his son committed suicide, he has been struggling with his own depressive episodes. And apparently, you know, there's been a couple of times when his girlfriend, I think, because I think he's divorced, when his girlfriend has had to call because he was a danger to himself or thought he was a danger to himself. So he was found dead this morning. It looks like it was an alcohol overdose. I don't think they haven't really released the cause of death yet. So they haven't said straight out it was suicide. They've just said that there was no foul play. But it's real sad. He was only 52.
He was young.
He was really young. And before he was on Young and the Restless, he was on this really short-lived soap opera with Vivica Fox called Generations. That was also about a Black family. It was on NBC. And a lot of people also know him because he was one of like Denise Huxtable's boyfriends on the Cosby Show, like back in the day.
That.
But
he was the one with the Dale. Was he the Dale guy?
No, he wasn't that guy. He was the one who had like these really archaic notions about like a woman's role in the home, but he was dressed like Denise, dressed all funky like Denise and everything. And I remember,
and that's what was it Claire Kirst like got out his ass for the archaic shit. Yeah, I remember.
And but the thing for me that was hard about this, like people make fun of, and I said this on Twitter, people make fun of people who watch soaps because we get so wrapped up in characters. But the reason we get so wrapped up in these characters is because it's not like a TV show where you see these people once a week for like 10 years. You see these people every day for like fucking 30 years, 40 years. Yeah. Like it's not
5 days a week.
5 days a week, yeah.
So
no days off.
No, like so since I was like 10, I've been able to turn on my TV and Christoph St. John is on my TV. So him being gone, like that shit is really heavy. Like and I know
and he was still on the show. Like
he's still on the show right now. Now what has happened is that he's been taking a lot of time away from the show. On the show, he's traveling for business. Okay. He moved his center to somewhere else, but now I know it's been because he's been dealing with like his own depression, stuff, his depression and stuff like that.
And hadn't he had a suicide attempt?
Apparently, he's had a suicide attempt in the past. And what's ironic is on the show, he's an alcoholic, and there's been a couple of different times where he basically like came close to killing himself on the show, which is very morbid and dark. But yeah, so that it's sad. It's really sad. But fucking Victoria Rowell. So Victoria Rowell played Drusilla Winters, and she was written off the show. They could bring her back because she went missing. They never found her. She went missing in a photo shoot. Her body was never recovered. She's just been presumed dead. They never recast her. She's been trying to get them to bring her back for a very long time. But the reason she was written off was because she was giving them a headache about money.
Right.
And today when she played his wife, today when she posted about him, her post was about how he was still fighting for her to come back to the show.
Sis.
And like still criticizing the show. And I'm like,
this is not the time.
This is not the time. Shamar Moore hasn't posted anything yet.
But that's fucked up.
Yeah, he might be
probably super hurt.
No, that was Shamar Moore's like first real gig.
I thought that they were really brothers in real life.
They kind of look like they could be really brothers in real life, like for real. Yeah.
You know, you light skinned niggas.
Quick piece of trivia: you know who his daddy was?
Who?
His daddy played Ben Buford in Shaft. Black History Month. I didn't know
that. Okay, Black History Month. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Such a black man.
Sean be knowing.
Sean's such a black man. Damn.
So rest in peace to Christoph St. John. And this is a heavy moment for, you know, the Young and the Restless fam. I don't know what they're going to do. Damn. They usually tape quite a bit in advance. So I don't know what they're going to do with his character on the show. Right. Because his character has been largely absent. They probably have a bit of time to figure it out.
Yeah.
It would be way too morbid, I think, for him to die right now because his daughter-in-law just got killed in a car accident last year. His daughter is in jail for that car accident. So like that family is in the midst of so much shit. I don't think they would kill him off.
Right.
Or at least not right. They'll probably just let him be gone for a little while. So then with James Ingram, so in my opinion, and I know at least Sean is gonna be with me on this. One of the most underrated voices.
What that mean? I ain't gonna be with you.
No, you're gonna be with me too, Jeff. But I know Sean gonna be with me for real. Right. James Ingram is one of the most underrated voices. Actually, there's so many of our male, those Quiet Storm voices from the 80s that don't get love anymore. James, Peebo, Jeffrey Osborne.
Is it because they presented? Is it because they presented as older? I'm saying presented because I don't know that they necessarily were older, but
it could be that. I think also, and this is what I opined in the piece I wrote about him for Billboard. By the way, I wrote a piece about him in Billboard. This is what I opined in the piece I wrote about him for Billboard. That 80s music, that Quiet Storm music, doesn't really get used for sampling and licensing. It hasn't had a second life. Like when people pull music from the 80s, they pull like boogie music. You know what I mean? And the more up tempo, or they start pulling from later 80s R&B. And I think that they just haven't had an extended life the way some other artists from that era do. And they all also stopped. They also became inactive as recording artists in the early 90s. I think it's just kind of like, I don't know where Jeffrey Osborne is. I ain't seen Jeffrey Osborne in.
Them niggas, I mean, I won't call them niggas. I won't call them niggas. But them dudes just tour. Them dudes just tour. They just tour.
Like a small circuit.
They do a nice.
They do the jazz festivals and stuff like that.
Is Billy Ocean still alive?
Yeah,
Billy Ocean's still alive, absolutely. Yeah, they do a nice circuit on the States, and a lot of them get decent money to go over to the UK and some of those other markets in Europe who have huge affection for R&B music. Like, so those guys, they're not like making like millions upon millions, but they're making good solid livings. And they go to Japan. They're okay. Yeah. They're all right.
So with James, apparently, I don't know how long James has been ill, but James has been ill with a brain cancer. And I discovered he was ill last year because he didn't show up for Quincy's birthday special. But for those of you who don't know who James Ingram is off the top of your head, if you still don't, Somewhere Out There, that's James Ingram. Second verse on Secret Garden, that's James Ingram. Find 100 Ways, that's James Ingram. Y'all Mo Be There with Michael McDonald, that's James Ingram. He was on a bunch of stuff.
Famous joint with Patty Austin, I believe.
Yeah, Baby Come to Me.
Yeah.
Did you say Find 100 Ways?
Yeah, I said Find 100 Ways. Okay. Baby Come to Me. I Don't Have the Heart. And he wrote PYT. I don't have the heart. He actually, for the run he had massive success. Like he only had really like a 10-year run.
He had bangers.
Success. Yeah.
But he had really good music.
He only put out 5 studio albums in his whole career, and the last one was like in 2008. So like considering that output, he had a huge impact. And of course he was on We Are the World because he's Quincy's people. So yeah, and it's sad to see us losing like those voices. We don't have balladeers anymore. Though that church, James was Kojic, you could hear it. Like it was a poppy version of Kojic, but you could still hear it in there. We don't have like those church.
By the way, his brother was in Switch.
Oh yeah, Philip Ingram. His brother was in Switch. So which is like the brother R&B group. Like the official brother R&B group with Bobby DeBarge. So yeah, we don't have those vocals anymore. We don't have those vocalists. These new Jaquans and them, like they rely on auto-tune. They don't have a 3-octave range. They stay in one place, and
everybody sounds the same.
And they can't emote, and they can't take you through a spectrum. I don't know of another motherfucker out there right now who, except for like John and Brian McKnight, who could do a Disney song. You know what I'm saying? Like that's still relevant.
Chris Brown?
No.
Not to give it that, like to do a true power ballad. Nah.
Power ballad, no. But I feel like I don't know. Chris be having.
Trey could do it before Chris.
Really? You just based off of vocals?
Based off of his early songs, I would say Trey could do it before Chris.
I feel like Chris could figure out a way to pull it off.
Chris gonna throw something about fucking up in there. I mean, no air would make you think that, but yeah.
Disney ain't having Chris.
I like this new track that he has. This that I Like Your Smile remake. I like it. I know Chris Brown gets on my nerves, but that's good. But yeah, okay. So
R.I.P. also to James Ingram, another smooth cat.
Damn.
On too soon. He was 60 something.
I think he might have been
62?
He was young too.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Well, thank you for that, Naima. I really do appreciate that. I figured that was right in your lane.
Absolutely.
I want to touch on this Jussie Smollett situation.
That nigga there.
So, Jussie was attacked early last week. I'm gonna keep it like that. I was gonna
say it like that.
Yes, I'm gonna say it like that. He was attacked early last week. It was reported that it was some MAGA supporters, some Trump supporters. They're calling it a hate crime, a homophobic crime, and a race crime or what have you. We still don't have video. He was attacked in front of his apartment or a subway, like a Subway restaurant. But there's no video. And the first couple of days, everybody was tweeting or posting on social media their support of Jussie, get well soon and things of that sort. As the week went on, and we are not seeing any footage of the attack, and this is alleged to have happened outside in the cold, and this is in Chicago, in the middle of the polar vortex. So who is out? But that's to be determined. Folks were starting to ask, like, something don't seem right.
Don't curl all the way over.
All the way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know for one, I actually, posted something like, get well soon, or this was a hate attack or whatever. And I know folks that know Jussie personally. So, I felt for the guy, but I gotta be honest.
Did you do any digging into the community in Chicago? Did you talk to your folk in the Chi?
I didn't, because everybody that I know in the Chi was worried about this damn, like, people's pipes were bursting. Like, people were worried about the weather.
Right.
I mean, it was fucking negative 19 degrees or something like that.
Right.
So I'm trying to I want to believe Jussie. I don't want to be that person who doesn't believe the victim. So I'm not saying that I don't believe him, but something seems off. And I don't know if it's just
it's not just you. I mean,
it just seemed off. Like,
there's definitely
he was.
I've been yelling off for a long time.
But he did a performance and he was talking about it.
Let me save Jeff from himself real quick. So
what? No, Nick. I want to hear what Jeff's got to say. What Jeff about to say? Wait, before you save him afterwards. I want to hear what Jeff got to say, because he said
I'm very skeptical about the way some of these events have been reported from him. Like you said, starting with my initial concern, I guess, for lack of a better term, skepticism, was, okay, like you said, it's the polar vortex in the Chi that was, I guess, about a week or so ago. In New York, we got hit. We was one night, I think we was down to like -5, negative something like that with the wind chill, and it's stinging. It was stinging your face, right? Chicago was getting -15, -20s,
right,
-30s, right. So for people to be outside, just to be outside, lording around, waiting on somebody at 2 a.m. on when the wind is blowing in the Chi, that wind blows in the Chi, and it's negative something degrees outside. It was always like, word, nigga, like, really? And then you go on the subway at 2 a.m, like, really? So I just was a little skeptical about what was really good. Like, and this, again, there's all kind of rumors floating around, and I don't want to throw rumors out here to substantiate rumors, but I just felt like it just didn't make no sense. The story just didn't make no sense to me.
It's still not adding up for me.
And then the fact that he decides not to cooperate, he wouldn't get the police's phone, and all this stuff was like, okay, what's really good with you, fam? Like, you're not even trying to like help the police catch these guys who did this heinous thing to you.
Wait, let's not say he's not trying to cooperate. He just wouldn't give up his phone. That's the only way in which. That's the only thing the police asked. And it's a thing, but it's not like there's a difference between not cooperating and I'm not going to do this part of what you asked me to do.
Right.
So I think there's a difference. I want to be very careful with how I say this. Do I think there's something we don't know? Yes.
Absolutely.
But we also don't know what the police know.
True.
True.
You know, it took a minute to find footage. It took a minute for Jesse to make a statement, for Jesse and his family to make a statement. There was also another witness who lives in the apartment building that Jesse lives in when he's in Chicago, who said that at one point during the night, she went out to walk her dog and she saw two white men. And I think her exact quote was like, they looked like they didn't belong. Yeah, they looked like they didn't belong. And they looked agitated and they were pacing and they looked like they were kind of waiting for something. And that later, when she saw the cops in the lobby,
they're waiting for,
you know what, Jeffrey?
I want to know what they're waiting for. What they're waiting for now, but they're waiting. They might have been agitated because somebody might have promised them to get him something, and then they get him freezing. And,
get him what, Jay? Get him what, Jay?
You know, all I'm saying is shit be happening, and sometimes deals go awry, and all of a sudden,
meanwhile, Sean is just smoking his cigar. Sean puffing smoke rings.
And I'm not saying shit either. I'm just saying my issue is
shady.
Right. Like, first of all, how did this story even get out? Because if Jesse was doing something that, I'm not gonna say that he had no business doing, but something that he didn't want people to know that he was doing, why did this become a story?
Because that's my police report. I don't think anybody like called it became a story because of the police report. And according to Jesse's manager, he didn't initially want to call the police. And Jesse's manager insisted that he call the police, and the police took his story. And between the police report and the fact that he had to go to the hospital, you know, there are certain people who just sit there and like look up this information. And I think TMZ broke it.
Yeah.
That's all they
it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for folks to have lines into the police, right? Like dispatch for, you know, they listen out for famous names or addresses of you know, apartment buildings, and you know, this was like some shit on Park Avenue, right? Like they listen, you know, folks listen out for stuff like that.
Nice area.
But I'll just say this: I definitely think that something occurred. I will say normally my train of thought is to give things, you know, 48 to 72 hours. Normally what happens after those initial stories, by about that second to third day, you start to see things from reputable news sources that gives you an idea of a timeline of a you know, what exactly happened, right? Like some sort of confirmation of what really took place. And as of now, it doesn't seem like we've yet to have a comprehensive timeline of events. There's a lot of piecemeal. There's a lot of he went here, he went to the subway, but like there's really no proof that he went to the subway. And I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying there's no proof. There's no confirmation that he went to the subway. I've never been in a subway that didn't have a camera, especially one that was open at 2 a.m. Right.
Absolutely.
So, you know, usually there's even if he's not, and I'm not expecting him to show us this stuff, right? But even when a cop is saying, hey, well, you know, show me a receipt. Was there a credit card receipt? Was there, you know, an Apple Pay receipt? Like what? Like show me something to sort of, and they'll follow the timeline, right? To sort of look for clues for the most part. So the fact that hasn't happened, the fact that he seems to have really been quiet, gives me the impression that he'd rather this
go away.
And I think that, like, I think we all sort of in our gut are feeling like definitely something happened that wasn't okay, but there's some things that makes this story a little more murky than initially from the outset.
Right.
And I find it very interesting, right? Like that a woman would come forward and say that she saw two men where she lives, right?
Right.
She saw 2 men where she lives, and she was afraid or she was uncomfortable.
But she ain't call the cops though.
But so I've never been in any place where, because I call the motherfucking cops immediately. Immediately. Like, you ain't supposed to be around here. All these goddamn taxes I pay. Right. I am calling the authorities.
Right.
Please believe it. Now, I might confront you too. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you near my home, yeah, I'm gonna definitely step out here and make my presence felt. But like, I'm calling the authorities. So the fact that this woman would do that, the fact that I'm assuming this is a building with a doorman, I definitely feel like there's obviously some level of security here. Was there no camera footage? Why is the only camera footage like this weird, 2-person silhouette?
Exactly.
We're never gonna know. We don't know the race, color. It could be a woman.
And so I again, I say all that to say, I don't really know what to make of this. I'm glad that there was no more physical harm done to him with whatever occurred, whatever the basis of it was, that he's physically okay. It seems like those wounds he had, he'll be able to heal from. I don't know if there is any traumatic issues that he's going to have to deal with emotionally.
He doesn't seem like it. He was at a show talking about it.
He seemed like he was all right.
Jeffrey,
but I think that
Jeff.
Oh my god, nigga gonna get us banned from
you don't hear. He even said
he over there sound like Deacon Sledge.
Come on, I will say the one thing though that
take your time
factor here is that there was hate mail sent to the Empire production office before all of this happened. So that is a thread that, that's something that definitely points to targeted violence. Could that be about something else? Possibly. Yeah, I don't know. But to me, there's still that, right? No matter what else you think of that night, there's also that element. Yeah.
Now listen. Now I do think it was some targeted violence. There's no question. I'm not saying that some cats didn't try to, people didn't try to get at him. Now, I don't think it was like a hoax.
Yeah,
I just think that I don't think he's lying about that. I just think that the reasoning behind people trying to get at him is, in my mind, a little suspect. That's all I'm saying. It's very questionable about why they was trying to get at him. And then there's some rumors floating around that I'm not going to repeat here on this podcast. I don't get nobody in trouble.
I'm gonna text you. I want to know what it is.
But all I'm gonna say is those rumors, whatever.
They could be true. Yeah. Okay, so we'll get off of Jesse.
I'm trying to be good.
Please, Jesus, please.
Real quick, can somebody explain to me why it looked like Bow Wow got into a fight with a cat?
Because he got into a fight with a chick with nails who scratched his face up, and he didn't fight back because he's not supposed to.
Probably beat him, and probably hit him in the face with a lamp or some shit too.
Reportedly, she threw
allegedly.
A lamp at him. The police were called to the house. It appears that this was not the first time that the police have been called to the house for situations, but this particular time they came. She reportedly threw a lamp at him, and obviously by the scars on his face you can see that there was a physical altercation. They said that there was some bruising. I think I've read one report where they said that there was some bruising to her, but light bruising. There was clearly physical altercations on both ends.
Right.
The police reported that they could not determine who was the aggressor, and therefore
arrested both.
Booked both of them.
I can't catch a break, y'all.
I need Shad today.
This is all, and this is also confirmed. Yeah, this is also confirmed that this is about a guy at a club.
Yeah,
and apparently
she was all over the nigga at the club.
She was all over dude, and it was tweaking him. And when he got home, he lit into her about it.
And she lit into his ass. Damn.
Yes.
I wonder if it was Future.
Well, look, I'll just say, he was quoted as saying, he basically told the police, like, he came home saying, yo, like, you disrespecting me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you all over this dude. We at the same spot or whatever. And, you know, things sort of escalated from there. And she called him a bitch. And, you know, it just seems like
your bitch ass nigga.
I don't know if alcohol was, you know, a part of the equation.
It seems like nobody he dates respects him. Like, that's gotta be difficult.
Instagram models.
Yes,
Bow Wow's using him for a come up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because I'm like, she's trying you, dog.
He's not old.
And she beat your ass.
He's only 31, so he's not old, right?
But he's old enough.
But he's been in the game since he was 13, right? Yes. So he's been around for a sniffing 20 years of being in the game. So for him to still be, even though chronologically he's only 31, for him to be running around here like he's still like the 20-year-old kid just banging Instagram models, it's like, fam, it's time for you to like elevate your shit a little bit and stop chasing around these little young girls from growing up hip hop.
Yeah, because like, also his daughter is like 7 or something crazy. Like she's like on his live feed hosting the shit herself, having whole conversations with people. Yeah. Like she's a sentient, you know, child. It like Val, you too old, son. Like let it go.
You too old for this.
I'll just say this. They are also on. Look, I'm not gonna say that. Go ahead. Okay. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that I wish Bow Wow would just step on the ladies' side, just step his game up a little bit. Like, I'm not saying you got to settle down.
I think it's time to just step up maturity-wise, right?
Say, all the way around.
Across the board.
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah, it's just like even with, you know, going back and forth with folks at this point. I think he's also, you know, this is the kind of stuff that really, you know, hurts your trajectory in terms of his acting stuff. Like that was really a big part of, you know, he landed a couple of roles and he was seemingly on a decent trajectory. Yeah, he had to see. I mean, the show was canceled, but once you in the building, you know, you can bounce around. You know, if you ever watch networks like
ABC, you'll see the
same people, because when you come to work on time, okay, you do your fucking job, okay, and you don't eat people shit out their refrigerator, okay, and you know what I'm saying, and yeah, we're gonna call you again, okay, because you're not grabbing ass in the makeup room,
right?
That's why we calling you again,
right? I don't know. Bow Wow need to get his shit together, and then get it together, please. And then the last thing before we get into y'all's business, Sir Savage, the 21st. Oh,
okay. I want to go first on this one.
Yes.
So like I'm mad irked. I'm mad irked about this whole situation, and what I'm irked about is I'm really irked that motherfuckers is like making jokes. It's just not funny, man.
So before you go into it, tell people what.
So 21 Savage, he's a pretty big rapper from Atlanta based. He is actually up for a couple Grammys this year. He put out a really great album. He was picked up by ICE agents, and now he's in a holding center. They're preparing to try to deport him because it came out that he was born in Dominica, which is where his family is from, and then brought to the UK as a child with his mom and his dad, and then his mom came here to Atlanta in 2005. And he's been living in that area, in and out of Atlanta ever since he was in junior high school there. He went to high school there, and obviously he started his career there. What's irksome to me is a couple things. First of all, this nigga's like, yo, he's not even from Atlanta. He's from England. I'm like, he's been in Atlanta for 13 years.
He grew up in Atlanta. He's from Atlanta.
What the fuck are you talking about? He didn't just go there last year. Like, what are you? That was
right. I was born in Houston, but I was raised in Miami.
That's what I'm saying. And you claim Miami, right? Because that's it. Exactly. So that's what happened to him. He came here as a probably 11 or 12-year-old,
and I read something that he was even younger. That he was like 5.
Right. He's been here since he was younger, like you said. Like, so not just 2005. Like he got here.
Yeah.
So like that's just dumb. This is just dumb, right? You know what I'm saying? He's actually from England. Does he have an accent? Like, what are you talking about? The niggas is just dumb. And then the fact that he's in a situation, I don't know. I guess we'll find out later on what happened with the paperwork. Did he know? Did he not know that his status was his status as a with a visa or whatever?
Apparently, it's come out. No, I'm just saying. Apparently, it's come out that he has an application in process.
Okay,
I would assume.
Okay, so I didn't even know that. But my point
just came out.
Okay, but my point is also, it's like, yo, man, like, this is not a joke. Like, if this guy gets deported, he can't come back to the States. It's like he has children here, he has family here, obviously here and just living based here. It's like you're shipping this guy back to a country. I don't know if he's been back, to see family, or whatever. But that's not.
We don't know if he has family there.
Exactly, but that's not where he's from.
So I will say this,
and everybody's like, yo, he got money, he's gonna be good. Money doesn't mean shit if you get dropped off in a place you don't know nobody, and like your whole livelihood and your whole family and your children, everything are several thousand miles away, and you are legally not allowed to go back.
Well, that's the other thing. Like his recording career, even though he can still record from the UK, if you can't tour in the US, like you're significantly cutting off some of your income.
Exactly. But the other thing, so going back to what Jeff was saying, so the jokes, the internet is trash. We all know that. Like the internet is trash. I will say that when I first saw the headline, and I think I saw it on the Shade Room, I thought it was a joke. I was like, I literally was like, the fuck? Like, okay, whatever. And then you start, because again, my parents are Nigerian immigrants. I know what that looks like. I know
what that energy is.
Yeah, exactly. I know that. So after doing more research on 21, I'm like, oh shit, like this could be bad. Like, again, I don't have all the facts. So I don't know how bad it is, but it's like, it's almost like being arrested for like on criminal charges. And if you can't, and if they can't get your court date or what have you,
you're just sitting.
You're gonna be sitting there.
And ICE is good for that. ICE
you'll be sitting there for months,
for years. No, ICE has held more than one U.S. citizen, like actual legal U.S. citizen, for years. Years.
If anything, they're gonna. If anything, because they know he has, some finances. They're gonna just gonna bleed him dry. They're just like Nye said, they might hold him for years and make him spend lawyer money and all the other type of money, and then he still might get booted anyway. They're not gonna make it. I was arguing with a friend of mine earlier, and she was like, "Oh, he'll be good. He's probably talking to his lawyers now." I'm like, "Why do you think this is a cakewalk for him to he's gonna just walk back out?"
And that's the thing.
Like, if ICE did this, I stacked the case against him.
Right.
The fact
they've been working on this specifically.
The fact that they arrested him Super Bowl weekend means that they were trying to make a point. Damn. This was not like off the cuff. And so I will say this about the jokes. There were a couple of different levels of the joke. One level of the jokes was, that he's really British or that he's really from the UK. And then another level of jokes was a little more mean-spirited about him possibly like getting sent back. I will say that I feel like some people were directing a certain level of anger towards the more lighthearted joke, like with the shit that happened with Demi.
Yeah, I thought I didn't think it was that serious.
So Demi Lovato says, the 21 Savage memes have been the funniest part of the Super Bowl to me so far. Some of the 21 Savage memes were really not crazy. Like they're
funny.
Yeah, they were very simple and it's whatever. And it was like, again, it was really more about making jokes about just British shit, right? So Wale gets in her neck and is also like, wow, I supported you, I lifted you when you were going through, your shit, whatever. And all of a sudden, like all of Twitter is like on Demi to the point where she deleted her Twitter account. And
wait, she deleted the whole account? Because I know she went back and explaining.
She deleted her account. And I feel like that's
gonna send her. Yeah, that's excessive.
Also, like she's suicidal. So it's like, I feel like that is excessive, and that's where Black Twitter gets on my nerves. Like, granted, not everything is a joke, but also there are levels to jokes. And what happens is shit'll be funny for a little while, and then all of a sudden, a couple of people be like, this shouldn't be funny. Y'all are wrong for laughing at it. Then everybody turns and is like, yeah, that's not funny. You ain't shit. And then it's all of a sudden like turned around. Because for the first half of the day, everybody was laughing at 21. And then a couple of people were like, y'all, this ain't right.
And that's
the time Demi comes in, it's like,
some of us be so sensitive. Because that's the thing. Like, again, when I first heard the 21 Savage story, I laughed because I thought it was a joke. I was like, this cannot be serious. But hearing Jeff and then seeing where Wale, not to say that Jeff and Wale were on the same page, but seeing where Wale was coming from, and then knowing people who may be close to the situation, I can see how none of those jokes are funny. Like none of them.
But the thing with what Demi said, she didn't even actually make a joke about 21. That's what's crazy.
Exactly. It was like something about a pen, like a feather or something like that. Like
she said the memes have been my favorite part of the Super Bowl. That's literally what she said. So I feel bad that the backlash gets carried away.
You mentioned something about Slick Rick, because I remember.
Yeah, so Rick was who was also born in Britain. He was here. I know he wasn't a citizen, so I don't know if he was on a visa or how he was here, but you know, Rick went to jail for attempted murder. And when he got out of jail in like 97, he was good for a little while. In 2001, he went to work a cruise, like an entertainment cruise, to work a gig. And when he tried to come back into the country from the Caribbean, ICE picked him up.
Oh, shit.
So ICE held him for a while, and somehow he fought that case. Then ICE moved the case to Atlanta because apparently Atlanta is easier, or at least was then, it was easier to get these things convicted, or they felt like they had a better chance to get him deported. They moved the case to Atlanta under the guise that because he had a felony, I think his visa was ineligible. I think that's what it was. And the governor at the time here, David Patterson, pardoned him.
Damn, so he had to get a pardon?
They pardoned him, but they were still trying to get him up out of here. And then so he was fighting that case from 2001 to like 2007.
Yep.
And then he became a citizen and was like back in jail for a large part of that time too, because he was like, I'm sitting in jail, I'm not even bailing out. Like, fuck it, y'all gotta figure this out. So then he became a U.S. citizen. But the thing with 21 is that he does also have a felony. But apparently, I've read that in addition to his application being processed, somehow he got his felony expunged. I need to look into that because I didn't have a chance to actually read into it. I just saw it in passing. But that's why I was like, they should call Slick Rick's lawyers. Like, we don't have a whole lot of instances of rappers getting deported. Like, Sean's was different. Like, Sean was definitely in jail for attempted murder as well. But you know, his ass has been back in Belize ever since. Yeah. But yeah, like this could be very serious.
And it just seemed like 21 was like making a turn. Like I don't know if something.
Well, I actually said that he's one of I called them little portal rappers, but he's one of the ones that I actually like because he seemed to be talking about some shit and trying to do some shit, you know. But people brought up that he changed some of his song lyrics, and I'm not this big of a conspiracy head, but he changed some of his song lyrics in a recent appearance on Letterman or Fallon. To address ICE.
Yeah, he talked about the ICE and Detroit water.
Yeah, people were like, that's not a coincidence. I don't know if I subscribe to that, but I can understand why people would think that.
Damn, that's wild. Sean, you got anything to?
No, I mean, you guys pretty much summed it up. I didn't think it was. Listen, I've been on Twitter. I've been on social media for a little while now. I know when a joke is coming from a place of sort of being lighthearted, even when something is not funny. And I know when something is coming from a place of venom, like when someone's being mean-spirited in a joke. I didn't feel like that initially. I thought that the situation with Demi Lovato is, look, this is one of those instances where this just really wasn't the topic of conversation for you to jump in.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what it is.
That's what it was.
Really,
that's what it was.
Like it's a family conversation.
That's exactly what this was. Like, this is a family conversation. Like, I'm gonna laugh at my crackhead uncle, but if you call him a crackhead, I'm slapping shit out of him.
Yeah.
And that's really what it felt like.
Honestly, when she said it, I was like, she might be on some shit right now. I don't think she was in her. I don't think she was lucid when she said that.
I think that when you grow up in certain cultures, you don't really understand what reading the room is and kind of staying in your place, and sort of, maybe this isn't a time for me to be speaking. This was probably a good time to, as you folks on Twitter say, sit down and eat your food, right? And she didn't. But look, did people go overboard? Sure, she'd be all right. She'd be all right.
She'd be straight.
She'd be all right. If she needed to delete Twitter after the shit that I've seen people go through on social media, if she felt the need that she needed to delete Twitter after that, then maybe it is ideal for her to not have Twitter.
Yeah, because just turn your Twitter off. You got to delete it.
Or like it's okay.
Log out.
Like, so everyone is not built to deal with the things that come from that sort of incessant pressure and berating. Like, it's a lot. I could imagine it being a lot, because people talk crazy and they say shit that they would never say to certain people in their face, right? And then they go a little not a little overboard. They go a lot overboard.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what was happening. all kind of junky jokes and
that's exactly what happened.
Exactly what happened.
I mean, and guess what? Lamar Odom got them jokes too. And DMX been getting them jokes for a decade.
Yeah, that's real.
Right? And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, like, okay, I mean, you're gonna have to toughen your skin up. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah. Right. You're right. She just shouldn't have jumped in. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we got this week for the water cooler. I want to go ahead and give you guys an opportunity, each of you, just to tell the Giggle Gang, the listeners, about yourselves, what you do, what you got popping, all that good stuff. Who do I want to start with? I
don't do shit.
I want to start with Naima, because she's already been on the show. But I know that so much has happened since last February when you were here.
Pressure. So Music Sermon is still popping, which I think I discussed when I was on here last time, and growing, which is a blessing. And we, as of December, Music Sermon is in partnership with Vibe. So it's also a weekly Vibe column.
Yep.
So you can check that out every week. And there's going to be a couple of events coming up this year. A matter of fact, I expect to announce that Music Sermon will be in Atlanta in the spring. So look for that announcement coming very soon. Doing a weekend of fellowship. And other than that, consulting, doing some research on a couple of projects for brands and for people. And that's about it. Okay. I mean, there's more, but I don't know if it's more that would be like interesting to tell the audience.
Everything you do is interesting now.
That's absolutely not true. But Jeffrey over here is like
I'm about to get
not a newly emerging, but like a record mogul in the making.
Yes, he is. Go ahead, Jeff.
It's my turn.
She laid up the alley-oop. That was you. That was
the oop. Thanks for the
oop. Talent spotter extraordinaire.
All right. So right now, finishing up this Missy Elliott project. We're in the process of setting up video shoots.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So we'll be coming this year. It's going to be exciting. We got some hot ass records.
It's going to be dope.
Super fire hot records. I'm excited about
Missy's last album? It's like 10 years?
That was more. 2005.
Oh, wow. Shit.
Yeah, 2005. Yeah.
Whoa.
And then I have a couple of artists I'm working with, and a couple producers that I have. Well, they're a producer team. I actually call them the new Jimmy and Terry. And we've been worked with Christina Milian last week, 2 weeks ago, and we got a couple other cool things coming down the pipe, man. So it's a lot of good music that I'm be trying to put out to the world before end of this year. I'm really excited about what I got in my chambers. Smoke these fools, and then be on my merry way.
Smoke these fools, really? Just
they can't fuck with me, B. They can't fuck with me.
Oh, but he's so
they can't fuck with me. They can't fuck with me. They
you're
can't
right.
fuck with what I'm doing. They can't fuck with it. But
you out here, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. I'm still moving and grooving.
Okay. And Sean, what you got popping?
Sean Gemini.
Oh, by the way, what you remind me? We didn't talk about that. That Larry died.
Oh, Larry from
Larry from the Floaters passed away.
Yeah.
Larry
Aquarius.
Larry
from the Floaters.
Larry from the Floaters.
Oh, damn! I forgot
he passed away like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that's when I meant to give Larry a shout out. Yeah.
Who is
the song?
We'll show you.
Don't
we'll
worry
send
about
you the song, Irene. I know you ain't never heard it.
It's some old shit.
We'll send it to you.
You gonna know it when you hear it, though.
Please send it to me. I'm like, who's Larry?
Yeah, Larry.
I ain't doing shit. Same old.
How the kids, man?
They listen, man, the kids are wonderful. Jordan is a sophomore in high school now. We'll be making our rounds of college tour, California. Justin should be finishing up at Morehouse in May.
Wow, already? I don't think I think I knew he was a senior, but I didn't really know he was a senior. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we things are really good on the business front. What I do is not very creative at the office. I'm more back end HR policies, procedure stuff.
You make work. You make it.
Yes, and make sure we are not being sued. Shit like that.
Which is important.
Which is important.
Very important.
Very important.
Ask Sean.
Yes, but also we have some really, really good stuff on the books this year. We have a lot of great projects that we feel really, really comfortable about. Some of them are in various stages of production. Some of them we're shooting. Some of them we have pilots for. We're out there. I'm trying to make some good TV, man. So hopefully we'll have some more things on air for 19.
For the listeners who may not know, when you say we, you're speaking of Mona Me.
Mona Me, yes, Mona Me Productions.
Yeah, let people know these things, Sean.
I don't really like, because then they start hitting me talking about their cousin got a barber shop.
Yeah. Put my sister on Love and Hip Hop.
If you could just, my boyfriend's a rapper. If you could just put us on the show.
My aunt was with Grand Poobah for like 2 years.
No, man.
No,
that has to be a whole one show. We have to talk about the random requests that you get just because people know that you are somehow connected to anything
on the show,
entertainment.
Put me on the show.
Can you pay my college tuition?
Yeah, pay my college tuition. All of it, nigga. Not can you help me out with a book? I need all this tuition paid.
Yeah, when you told that story, I was like, wait, that's really a thing? Like
so aside from that, I normally try to keep a low profile. But we have a great team. We have a great team of people. I'm really excited and I'm really happy. We really have some really good stuff on the books.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Y'all are busy. It took us about 12 years to get this show to happen.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, my folks are busy, but I'm very glad that you guys were able to come on. We thank y'all for telling folks about yourselves and chopping it up with me this evening. I appreciate it. I support y'all.
When are you coming to New York, Irene?
I will be in New York in April.
For spring coming. You're not coming before then?
For spring coming. When's Boogie Yogi?
Oh, it's the weekend. It's the week before spring coming. I'll let you know as soon as I set the date.
Yeah, if you let me know, I will make it because I have not been able to make it.
Okay. I gotta get my steps together.
Yeah. Last year I was at Coachella getting my Beachella life, so I missed it last year, but I will definitely be in NY soon and very soon.
Okay.
You're muted. Are you trying to talk to us?
Who, me?
No.
Naima.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
I was gonna say I might actually this year do it the Thursday before spring coming starts, even though that's technically after my birthday, because there are a lot of people who want to come, but they're coming for spring coming.
That would be dope. If you could do that,
I'll consider that.
If you don't mind, me and my government job,
I'll keep that in mind.
I appreciate it.
Gotta put in your hours.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, every week I tell the listeners what I'm listening to as far as music is concerned. But I told you guys that I wanted to know what y'all were listening to. So is there a particular artist or song or
that's a Jeffrey question.
That yes, he can answer on behalf of PopLife. Like,
no, he's answering on behalf of Jeffrey because me and Sean listen to some shit.
Them niggas ain't listening to nothing.
What you listening to, Jeff?
The latest shit I'm listening to is my nigga Future's album Wizard.
Is it good?
Toro E. Moy's it's hot. My man Toro E. Moy's album Outer Peace. Those are kind of the two main joints on the top of the list right now. I kind of went back and started listening to some old Seal recently and some old Grace Jones recently, but so I'm kind of in that space right now. So Future and Toro E. Moy.
So Jeff, I know that you are like the music. Is it A&R? Like whatever.
Yes,
that's what you do.
Mm.
Do you listen to any? I know you just said Seal and Grace Jones, but do you listen to anything old? I feel like every time I hear you talk about music, you know the hot new shit.
I'll listen to some old shit once in a blue moon. Like wait a minute, what you mean by old? Like R. Kelly, what you mean by old? What we talking? What we talking? How are we talking?
I'm talking about 80s, 70s.
Nah, I don't be digging that shit too tough no more.
90s,
I don't be go that.
The pinnacle of R&B and hip hop. No,
he don't like to live in the past.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I learned all that shit. That's already in my head. It's already here. I've taken it apart. I've put it back together. I know where the parts are. I know where everything goes, and I'm done. I'm good. I need to some new shit. Yeah. It's like,
is that why it is? Because as an A&R brain, you can't just listen to it and enjoy it. You have to listen to it as an A&R person.
Yeah, I mean, look, it also depends on the setting. Like if I go to like that party I told you about in Land of Groove, where they play like that, like I was saying, or a cookout or whatever, or like something like that. Then of course, then you get it, or a wedding, and they play the jams. You get into that, but like to kind of just listen to it, just to be listening to it. Every now and again, I might just listen to some certain things just to kind of get an inspiration. Like my artist, I listened to some A. Marie stuff a few weeks ago, just because I wanted to get inspiration for that energy. Like I don't want it to. What we did doesn't sound like A. Marie at all, but that energy of those records, like One Thing, and then that energy's missing.
One Thing's my favorite.
So I'll listen to things like that. Like how can we capture this energy? You know what I'm saying? But not to sound like the records. Right. So I'll do stuff like that. Like when I listened to Seal, I was like, they ain't doing this type of shit no more. Like listen to the strings. Like maybe we could do something like that. Like that type of thing. But it's not like I'm just like, let me put on some Teddy and just cruise.
Right.
Although I fucks with Teddy, like, and I fucks with Harold and them. But come on, they the gods. But that's not where I'm at.
Meanwhile,
what about you?
I am not listening to anything recent. What's the I can't even tell you the last newest thing I listened to, honestly. I don't know. I just wrote a piece on Soul Train this week.
I was about to say,
my head is in the 70s and 80s, so yeah.
Right.
It comes out tomorrow night, right?
It starts tomorrow night.
I'm excited about that. Sean,
ask bro what he listening to.
Sean, what you listening to?
Mighty Clouds of Joy.
Five Blind Boys.
Dixie Hummingbird. Dixie Soul Stirrers.
I knew you was gonna say that.
No, I'm kidding. Well, that's always gonna be in rotation. The Quartet Gospel Group is always in the rotation.
That Tamla and
David Man. Yeah.
The love album.
Humping during Jesus.
Exactly.
But no, you know what? Recently, I just took a trip back to John Legend's Once Again album, man. Like I really forgot. It's a great fucking album, man. Like it is. the perfect mix of up tempos with mid tempos and slow jams, and like really,
that's a good Saturday album.
Honestly, man, to me, it's his best work. Because
is that the album that had Green Light on it?
No, that was the one before.
Oh, okay.
So the one before.
Once again, had like Another Again.
Heaven Only Knows. Yeah, Another Again. Like these are great records that still have that sort of churchy and soulful sort of vibe to him. Like right before he really went big. Poppy. Ballads and big poppy stuff, like so. It's perfect. It was really, really good. I totally forgot about it, and I haven't played an album, like literally just let an album play in a long time, and I rocked it out. I mean, other than that, I mostly listen to podcasts. I really don't listen to music other than mostly working out. So
I will say though, you reminded me, Sean, I did take a trip last week back to Kirk Franklin's hits. Because I did a sermon on Kirk, and sometimes, again, one of the reasons I don't listen to new music is I'm always writing about old music, but it really took me back to like, Kirk got some bangers.
He did.
Like for real. Even I actually forgot that some of the gospel songs that I know from choir are Kirk. Like you think of Kirk and you still think about the hip hoppy stuff. But I actually forgot about some of the more like traditional contemporary gospel stuff, that it was him and not like, Fred Hammond or whatever. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. This is Kirk Franklin's family. So and that early Tamala and David up on there. Yeah. So I took a trip back to Kirk and revisited his stuff, and most of it has held up like really well.
Okay, that's what's up. I've been the last couple of weeks just been listening to lots of Afro beats. I have no idea why. I'm just
your roots is calling.
Your roots. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why I'm drawn to drum.
No. Says the Nigerian.
What I'm sorry. My bad.
No. I'm speaking out loud. Like no. But nah. I mean, I always listen to Afro beats, but like the last couple of weekends, I have like a couple of playlists that I'm just like in my living room just rocking out. So yeah, shout out to Nigerians making headway all across the world. But yeah, y'all, I think we've gotten to the end of the show. I really, really, really appreciate you guys for doing this. I have to say, I don't know how many times I've said this to Sean or Naeem. I don't know if I've said this to Jeff, but y'all are there were two podcasts that I used to listen to when I first started listening to podcasts in 2010, 2011. And my good friend Yarbrough put me on to PopLife. And I was like, who are these people? Like, why do I feel like I'm at like I told y'all, at the picnic or at the family function and we at the spades table? Like, so you guys are a big part of why I decided to start podcasting. And I don't know if Naima remembers, like I don't know if Naima remembers this, but when I first started podcasting, like I hit you up like, hey, I'm starting the show and just wanted to, let you know what's going on.
No, I remember that because I remember we knew that you use this as a source of inspiration and we were immensely flattered by that.
Yes. So that'd be 4 years ago in April. It'd be 4 years.
Wow. So congratulations. And look at you doing live shows and remote shows and traveling and at the Essence and
I'm just trying to make my way, sis. Just out here. So, but no, I really appreciate you guys. Y'all are dope. I fucks with y'all the heavy. Y'all are really amazing. And thanks for taking time out of your so busy schedules to sit down and chop it up with me this evening on a Monday. We out here on a Monday, y'all. Yes, I appreciate it.
You got me missing my show. You got me missing Love and Hip Hop New York.
Oh, Lord.
It's on DVR because it's on my DVR.
Exactly. Yeah. It's on my DVR too.
Yeah,
go ahead and get your butter pecan and put your slides on.
Exactly. I got my slides on now.
Right. Shout out to Love and Hip Hop Miami on Wednesdays. Mon ami, I love you guys. Anyway, this is it. I think we're done, y'all. Oh, right. PopLife. Like, help yourselves. Like,
you can find us on Twitter at the PopLife Podcast. That's
be sure to rate us, please.
Yes, be sure to rate us.
PopLife.
The PopLife podcast. But yeah, you can find us on Twitter and find our shows that way. We are also on SoundCloud and we are on Apple Music, and we're hoping to soon come to Spotify. Yes. So take a listen, dig in the archives, rock with us a little bit. Do not turn us up too loud if your children are in the car. Don't say we didn't warn you. But yeah.
It's a lively conversation, y'all. To say the least. It's a lively conversation. But this is it. Thank y'all so much for chopping it up with the Giggle Gang.
Thanks, Irene.
I love y'all, man. Y'all go ahead and tell the people bye. Tell the listeners later and all that.
Later, Giggle Gang. Thank y'all.
See y'all later.
All right.
This is dope. Yo, thank y'all so much. Y'all are
dope.
So
welcome.
No problem. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'll let y'all know when the show posts and all that good stuff.
Thanks, Irene.
All right.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.